This video is on toxic relationships. A true toxic relationship is when you are being abused or when you are being used. When somebody has major issues and they need help, and you say that you will help them and you do not, that's toxic. You're being the toxic one by offering to help and not helping, or not listening to even understand what help they need. And you call them toxic. You call those people who are asking for help because they need it toxic. A lot of these people who use the term toxic, they don't have to endure certain things. They have everything set up already. They already have a vehicle and a roof over their head, access to the internet so that they can do the things they need to do. They have a place where they can speak on a telephone about their issues or their problems, things that they're actually going through. But their problems are somehow worse than mine, even though they have all of those things and I do not. There are a lot of people who have actual serious problems. Problems that can't be fixed by pretty words like you need to love yourself. Telling me I need to love myself for the last year didn't stop people from abusing me. It didn't stop people from hitting me. It didn't stop people from using me. Because I'm not happy all the time I'm toxic? No. My life sucks. I get bullshitted non-stop. I'm not a bad person. But you guys, you're not separated from all of your loved ones. All of the people who make your life better just by being there. Just by existing in your living area. Those things are essential for you not to be depressed all the time. There's a woman named Angela. She has a son. Angela gets depressed like I do after just a few minutes of her son leaving. She gets desperate. She needs drugs. She needs alcohol. She needs something to cope with the pain of her son not being there. Me, I don't do those things. I don't do heroin. I don't do meth. I don't drink. I don't fit in. When I'm in a positive environment, I'm a very positive person, but it has to be a positive environment. When I was at Shannon's, my basic needs were met. I had food, I had water, I had shelter. But I also had Shannon in a very bad mood often, or very sad often. And it was always because she was drinking. Always. She was tolerable when she wasn't drinking. But everywhere that I go, I get to listen to this screaming. Shannon screamed a lot while I was there. A lot. And that is scary for me. I don't want that directed at me, so I didn't do the same thing as she did. Or the same thing as her boyfriend did. Which is argue with her. You cannot argue with an alcoholic and expect that there's going to be any sort of positive outcome from it. Unless she gets really horny. So a lot of people use that term toxic as an excuse to get rid of someone who is not happy all the time because they don't have their basic emotional needs met. A lot of women that I know They complain and complain about how sad and lonely they are, and then they get a boyfriend. And then they're happy. And then anybody who feels the way that they did before they got their boyfriend is toxic. You're toxic, you're making excuses, you just have to love yourself. Lady, you have somebody there in person. So, the term toxic isn't used towards actual toxic people. It's used as an excuse not to help people. It's used as an excuse to belittle and destroy another human being. And it is destructive. This person needs actual help, and you're insulting them. Just like the term mentally ill. Be specific. If you're going to say mentally ill, you're just being an asshole. What mental illness in specific? Don't gather all of them, throw them into one category of mentally ill and expect it to be okay, because it's not. Not everybody branded with mentally ill is schizophrenic or bipolar. Not everybody branded with mentally ill is OCD. And then there's your misunderstanding of what those letters mean. Obsessive compulsive disorder. That doesn't mean, she's so pretty, I'm gonna follow her forever. No. OCD, that's like having to touch a door handle twice before you open it. Or when you take a pack of cigarettes and you open it up, having to fold everything up before you throw it away. That's OCD. But you guys don't want to know that. You don't care. Meanwhile, those of us who live it are toxic for being alone, for being abused, going through things that you don't have to. See, it's a lot different when you've got a decent job and a running vehicle and a roof over your head and you've got somebody paying part of the rent with you. It's completely different to have no money and be told that you have to earn it from nothing. I've done that repeatedly. I've never had the three basic things all at once that you need to have an actual decent start right out of high school. It's a vehicle, a job, and a house all at the same time. It was either I had a job and a vehicle, or I had a job and a place, and if I had a vehicle, it was broken and I didn't have the money to fix it. I earned a lot of vehicles doing second-hand jobs. Second-hand jobs are the ones that people came over and just didn't finish. I earned a lot of vehicles that took me 6 months to get a little crappy beater vehicle because I needed to still feed myself. Does that matter? No, I'm somehow toxic because I don't make enough, I don't earn enough, and I can't get the people who promise to help to actually do so. Just because my basic needs are met doesn't mean that it's a positive environment. If people are screaming as often as they do, it is not a positive environment, it is a toxic environment. Sally Treon was non-stop screaming the whole time I was there. They got dog poop, smeared on this back dog run thing. And they're telling me that I can work with my computer back there. Meanwhile, I can still hear them screaming through the walls, and I have to step over dog shit and smell the dog shit. I can hear the abuse from the other rooms. And it's not always abusive screaming, but quite often it was. At Shannon's, the constant screaming from her. Her daughter, yes, she's a tough cookie to deal with for most people. I didn't have an issue with her daughter, but every time I try to discuss it, it's her daughter is the reason that I had a problem there. No, her daughter wasn't. It was Shannon's drinking. Shannon couldn't keep her word to help me the way that she said that she would because she was drinking whenever it was time to sit down and work on something of mine. Every single time. It was Shannon's wine time. Her time to drink wine and her time to whine about her boyfriend. Or whine about problems that God, I would love to have those as my worst issues. Oh my God. She gets to live at her dad's house. Basically 2 houses attached to each other. And she gets money every month for taking care of her daughter, and she gets money every month for taking care of her dad. She has money coming in. She doesn't have an actual job. This is her job. But around 6 o'clock she starts drinking. By 6:30 she is inconsolable on most nights. Or she gets so into her special interests. This is a word that those of you who followed autism kind of understand a little bit. But it's a toxic environment. Lana and Amanda's. Lana's allowed to get angry because I wouldn't have sex with her the second night I was there. And she snapped at me every time we spoke after that. And somehow I'm the toxic one. I'm not. I'm overwhelmed and need actual help, not empty promises, not people getting angry emotionally and they're allowed to and I'm not. Did Lana yell at me while I was there? Yes. She yelled at everybody there. But she's allowed. It's her house. I'm not allowed to yell at anybody. And I didn't. I didn't yell at anybody in that household. Toxic, when you use it as an excuse for not keeping your word, makes you the toxic one. Did Candace yell at me? No, she snapped at me a few times, but she didn't yell at me. That wasn't a toxic situation until she started lying to me again to try to cover her own conscience, I suppose I would call it. Candace is a toxic friendship. She is the worst friend that I have ever had for a reason. Because the things that she did when I truly needed her help was mislead me, lie to me, and then go out of her way to omit information to paint something about me that was not true. But I'm used to this out of Candace. When I needed help, all of the people who I got rid of in Virginia because they were toxic, because they were ganging up on me, because they were going out of their way to misrepresent my words, to twist my words so completely out of context so they could feel better about the things that they said and did. And then they don't like it when I go out and show the whole truth now, do they? They do not. I will not apologize for this. I've spent so many resources to get help that I need, while people want to throw help at me that doesn't do me any good. Because they're not listening. I am not worth listening to. They have made an assumption and they have put it rock solid in their head, and that's how it is. This is not acceptable. This is the exact reason why I beg for death. This is the reason that I believe that assisted suicide should be legal.